Hello, everybody. Welcome to Abu Dhabi. I nearly said the name wrong straight off the bat. I'm doing well. But anyway, welcome to Yas Marina for the Abu Dhabi round of the Formula Challenge. Should be a very fascinating round, this one, because this track, it always brings up some very interesting elements for the cars and for the field. Because of the way the field is, we generally get quite large gaps here, but that is just the nature of the track. And it is pretty much a near 2-minute lap in these things, so it's a very long lap. So it should be a fascinating race ahead of us for this round of the Formula Challenge season. As we round up, we'll start the train towards the back end of the season, towards the end. And yeah, it's going to be a fascinating round. Alongside me, as always, we're not alone here in the commentary box. Alongside me is Mr. Joshua Anderson. Say hello, sir.
G'day.
Very, very nice. And of course, on cameras, this time we have Menno Klont on cameras. Usual Quint. There is. Yeah, so Quentin, unfortunately, having some issues with the internet, it would seem. So, unfortunately, he's not able to do this round. But thankfully, Menno is on hand to fill in when needed. So, it's great. So, yeah, so we are currently in qualifying. Got about 3.5 minutes to go. James Johnson currently leading the way on a 55.209. 4/10 nearly clear of Stefan Roltz. So, pretty dominant so far. And it's actually the case all the way down the field, isn't it, Josh? There's some pretty large gaps pretty much all the way down to the very bottom of the field right now.
Yeah, there is. Just looking down, you've got the 0.4 gap to Ruot, then a further 0.4 pretty much to Cameron Brewster, then 0.2 to Mlanek, who's in P4 for Hinss Motorsport, who's having a great out so far for the Australian team. Having a great little do there as he now exits pits once more. I'm just watching. And then he's a fair bit ahead of Max Mellerman himself, although I've just seen Matthew Churgwin's gone P3. So just in front of his teammate, Brewster. Very good showing so far from Drake in this qualifying session. Of course, Cameron Brewster can now call himself a Formula Challenge race winner, having taken a win last time out of Suzuka as well.
Yeah, indeed. No, that fantastic race win from Cameron was an amazing race from him. So definitely going to be a big confidence booster for him. And just in general, I've been noticing the Drake boys, certainly in FC, in recent times really have been starting to step it up. I know there was a few rounds there where they were a bit lowly, just didn't seem to have the pace, but they really have been seeming to step it up another notch in recent rounds. So hopefully for Chobin's case, I know he's been having issues with having the car stall on occasions for him. So fingers crossed for his sake that doesn't happen here, because they're looking mighty fast right now. The Drag boys. Again, Rolt, of course, and JJ, the usual two at the front, doing their usual show. Mike Quince has actually now jumped into the top 5 with a 55.972, so good stuff from Mike. Max Melamed, his teammate, he's in the 7th, so a good showing from those two guys. Lazarus Philippakos is having a good run. He's in the Academy car for this round. Sitting 8th spot right now, so that's really good to see from Lazarus. With Terrace Gretsch there in 9th, and Johan Lindberg currently rounds out the 10. It is quite closer at the back end of the 10. We're looking at 8th, 1.6 seconds off. 9th in Terrace Grech, he's on 1.7 seconds off. And Johan Lindberg is 1.7 as well. So that back end of the 10 there, all very close, all the way down to 12th, which is Michael Barnard right now in the second Deltec car. But it should be a fascinating round, this one. As always, Josh, with this circuit, I mean, we know the main thing is just how hot it is. So overheating tyres is going to be a real thing that these drivers are going to have to watch as the races wear on.
Yeah, tyre wear is going to be a bit of an issue here because of the nature of the track, as you say. So it's going to be down to who can really manage their tyres best that really benefits them most. But, nonetheless, raw pace does help around here. So it's got a minute to go in this qualifying session. So last couple of laps will be coming in soon. And I'm going to get the live timing up so I can see who's good.
Indeed, yes. Apparently Cameron's got a very nice middle sector, I'd say that is. As he comes around the final corner now, let's see if he can improve that time in that drag racing car. Looking very promising right now. Those two, and he does. Wow, 1/10 off 55.393. That is a very impressive lap there from Cameron Brewster. I tell you what, that race win, he's got to be brimming with confidence right now. It is showing 1/10, or near to 2, but pretty much 1/10 off James Johnson. And we know that James Johnson, he is insanely fast in these cars. So that is mighty impressive from Cam, isn't it, Josh?
You know what else is mighty impressive? He's gone purple sector 1. He's getting even quicker, and it was Matthew Churgan who went purple sector 1 before him. So Drakes are looking really good for a sort of late charge in this session, as the time has now expired. So it will be the last laps to anyone on track.
Indeed, yeah. So this is going to be very interesting to see Matthew Churgan. He's actually just entering into the final sector now. So we'll see how he goes through this final sector. A bit of a lock-up there as he went into the left-hander at the end of what would usually be the second DRS straight if you were looking in Formula 1 or in Super League here, or Super Cup even, but not, of course, in FC. But either way, he's coming through the final sector now. This is the twisty nature of the track where you need that little bit of downforce. Go try and compromise that. You want the speed, of course, for the sort of opening half of the lap, but you want the downforce for this area where they're going through now. As Matthew looking pretty tidy, a few little look-ups, but he's looking pretty tidy regardless through this final sector as he comes under the hotel now through the final few corners of the track. Looking quite smooth, looking quite nice. We'll see if he can improve. Surely if he's been going purple in that first sector, he's looking good. Ooh, a little bit wide, and he's pulled it into the pit lane. I would suspect that might be... Yeah, I think that might be because he went a bit wider. It looked like he went over the white line there, which would count as a cut. So he's obviously decided to can the lap because he doesn't want to get a track cut penalty. Let's see if Rolt improves. He doesn't on his final lap, so he stays the same as Cameron. He's also coming through now in that final sector. Let's see if he can improve once again. Looking pretty tidy again. And tell you what, if he can improve even more, it's going to be quite impressive. Remembering as well, I shall talk about it at the end, but either way, comes across the line. He does improve again. Unbelievable. Under a tenth off James Johnson and quicker than Stefan Reynolds, which is mighty impressive. Terence Gretsch, I believe, improved as well to 8th as well, 1.2 seconds off the lead, but that is mighty impressive either way. Max Melamed, a little bit of a slide out of the final corner there in 6th spot. Does he improve? He doesn't. He stays 6th spot. And Barnard coming through, but he's also pulled into the lane, so he's done. Sherwood Van Slot looks like he's coming through on his final run. 24th at the moment. Does he improve? He does. Goes 21st with the 58-1. So there you go. I think that is pretty much everyone. I'm not sure if Lazarus is on a lap in the Academy car. Looks like he isn't. So there you go. So that is it. But this is the key, Mr. Josh Ranson, is that James Johnson, from what I understand, has a 5-place grid penalty. So he's not going to be pole. So pole position is to Cameron Brewster. So... are we on, Josh? Do you think we're on for a second win for Cameron in 2 rounds?
Well, I did allude to last time at Suzuka that it might open the floodgates, a win for him, in Formula Challenge after trying so much. And now I think, he's got a chance, at least from pole, to make it happen. I mean, with pace like that, it's not entirely possible that he can't. I mean, I'm just looking through, I'm going to look through the different penalties that we've got this race, and I'll double check that for you. But I think if he is on pole, then it'd be fairly interesting to say the least.
Yeah, indeed. No, it's going to be a fascinating.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so it's going to be a fascinating race ahead of us because, as I said, so JJ, and I think I knew this because I knew he alluded to it before the start when I was having a chat with him before. Tonight, he did mention about having a penalty, so he's going to be 5 places down, so he should be 6th in the order where he's going to be. But either way, it's going to be a fascinating race ahead. We're going to have JJ a little further back, not too far, but he'll be a little further back behind, so we're going to be seeing him sort of coming through the field a little bit, which will be interesting to see. But either way, it's quite a fascinating little race we have ahead of us. Cameron, once again, in the ideal spot. We'll see if he can convert that into another race win. Stefan Reynolds, of course, will be right behind him, and we know here around Yas Marina just how powerful that slipstream is. Again, those 2 straights, the main straight and the main straight, and then the 2 back straights, are so give such big opportunities for slipstreaming for people to pass. So we'll see how powerful that will be, but it's going to be interesting to see how Cam goes. I suspect he may have more of a time of defending here if those straights do give such a factor, or even a bigger factor for slipstreaming that Suzuka. But again, another good result again. We're kudosing Drake a lot here early on, but they really have done very well as Cam there on pole. So it'll be Matthew Churgman as well. He'll be in 3rd spot, so double top 3 in qualifying for Drake. Fantastic stuff for them. They'll be over the moon. I'm sure Mike Phillips will be absolutely beaming right now after those results. Otherwise, everything else, didn't really see any other huge standouts from what I saw. I don't know if you saw any there, Josh, but everyone else seemed pretty much thereabouts. But yeah, this should be really quite interesting. How much are we thinking here Tyler is going to be? Because I know obviously he had the OS broadcast just for us, or a few little bits of that. And I know we mentioned at the end, I think for Lazarus, I think it was mentioned that there was a bit of tie wear possibly happening. So how much do you think Tyler is going to play a part here in these 2 races?
Well, it could play quite a significant part if people don't manage them well enough. Obviously, Lazarus has just driven the Open Series race, he'll know how much these tyres weigh first hand. Everyone else has only got practice figures and what they actually have in the race. But you know, he'll have more experience. He actually has a 5-place grid penalty as well, this Blackness, so you know he'll have to deal with that himself. But you know, there's always a chance that he could snake something out of this race, even with the penalty he's got. So if he can keep holding his tyres, as can the other drivers, as can the likes of Brewster and Shergwin, they should stand a bit of a chance. But I'm very impressed, speaking of standout people, by Malinek, who's P6, and I don't think he has a penalty. So he is actually, I think if James Johnson, if Malinek's P6 and Johnson's got a 5 place, that should put Malinek in P5.
Yeah, no, Malinek looking very, very nice. He really is. I've been noticing his results over the course of his, obviously, his motorsport. Only been in since after the halfway mark. Not been there for the whole season, but Malinek is such a consistent hand as well. I've been noticing. He's not always up there with the pace of JJ or Rot, but he's just so consistent. That's what seems to be his strength. As while everyone else is having instants or having spins, he just keeps the car straight and narrow, nice and consistent, and then he's there at the end of the race to get those results he's been getting. So that's his big strength. And once again, showing it by the looks of it here in qualifying. So we want to watch for sure throughout the races to just be a little bit of a dark horse, just in the background, just doing his consistent thing, and possibly getting the results to pick up the pieces if other people have issues. Lazarus will be interesting to see as well, obviously, as we said. He in OS just before this, and now he's in the Academy car. Nice result in qualifying. We'll see if he can convert that in the race. But I think that could be an interesting battle to watch, as well as at the front. I think that battle at the back end of the 10 there, because a lot of those guys, 8th through to sort of, I think 11th there, Michael Barner, they're all very close on pace. I think there could be ones to watch, and then we'll keep an eye as well on the midfield there, seeing that battle for the reverse grid, seeing who can be in there. Good shout out to Rob, as well as Rob Mason there in the top 15. Good stuff from him. He'll be happy with that. That puts him in a prime spot for reverse grid as well. So we'll keep out for Rob. He's also another one, I think, Josh, you could say he not necessarily the quickest, but he's very consistent, and he just tends to stay out of trouble and just kind of do his own thing. And when things go wrong, he's generally there to pick up the pieces of the debacles going around him.
Yeah, he is, and you know, being there to pick up the pieces is always good skill to have. You know, sometimes that's how the best drivers drive. You know, sometimes wins are made by waiting for other people's mistakes and pouncing on them. You know, sometimes the race leader makes a mistake and you go for it.
Yeah, indeed, no, for sure. So looking at the championship, of course, was just before we go to the race. Got about a minute and a half left in the warm-up. So looking at the championship, it is currently James Johnson leading on 443 points, with Stefan Ruot on 427. A lot of wins in recent times for Stefan. Of course, he had that streak from Hungary all the way through to the first race of Monza, where he won every race in a row, 5 wins in a row, and he won that second race in Suzuka as well. So a long streak of really impressive results from Stefan. And of course, JJ missed Suzuka, so that's why that gap at the front's really closed down. So going to be interesting to see how that goes. Stefan's got the advantage in race 1 with JJ having that grid penalty, so we'll see how that goes for him. It's quite a gap after that, all the way back to Jonathan Holmes at the moment in third. I don't know if he's actually here. I didn't actually check if he was. I don't think he is he? So it's going to be more points going for him, so shame for him there. Cameron Bruce is currently in 4th, but if he keeps these results going, I don't think it's going to be staying that way for much longer. 198, and it's Jeffrey Fournier, 196. With Terence Gretsch in 6th on 188. Last 2 rounds, hasn't actually scored any points in the last 2 rounds, but he's in the position to do so now, so we'll see if he can maybe get a bit back on form, as he's had a bit of a slump in recent rounds. So keep an eye on that for you. Matthew Churgwin currently in 7th, but again, with these recent with the pace he's showing, if he can not have those issues that he's had in the past few rounds with the technical issues, then he could well jump up. Mike Quint in 870. That's Carlos Fernandez still 9th, even though he hasn't shown for the last, I believe, 4 rounds. He's not here again, so he'll probably continue to fall down. And Johan Lindberg currently rounds out the top 10 on 160 points at the moment. So that is your drive standings. And that perfectly rounded out warm-up. Fantastic. That worked out well. But yeah, we just finished warm-up on the time limit, so we'll be going to race very, very shortly. I'll tell you what, Josh, I'm quite excited for this one, because we might have another very, very juicy battle at the front on our hands this first race.
Yeah, we could have a very interesting little battle, and well, it could go any which way. Obviously, when we do the grades, we'll be able to see exactly who's where, but this could be quite interesting.
Yeah, indeed, for sure. It's going to be a fascinating race ahead of us, just waiting on the session to be moved to the race. But yeah, it will be a very, very fascinating race. And generally, Yas Marina, it always throws up some quite intense racing, especially when with the slipstream and how powerful it is down those two back straights. We tend to get some very, very intense battles throughout the races we have here, and as we've mentioned already, with the way this track is and just with how hot it generally is in this region, you always have that issue of tyres overheating. So if you can't manage your tyres, then you really do struggle a lot, especially later on in the race when the tyres just can't handle it. And just with the way R Factor 2 of course works compared to R Factor 1, once you overheat the tyres, they just completely fall away, even more so than they used to in R Factor 1. So it's always something to keep in mind with R Factor 2. It's just that overheating tyres are pretty much the bane of any driver's existence once you're in R Factor 2, and once you overheat them, they just completely fall off. But yeah, so that is what we're looking forward to. But I guess before we head towards the warm-up lap and the formation lap, Josh, who are you looking out for this one? I think I know the answer already, but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Well, do you know the answer? That's the thing. Do you know the answer? I'm gonna pick. You know what? I'm gonna let you go first.
Ooh, okay.
Which is pretty much a sign that I haven't decided.
No pressure. Well, as I've mentioned, here's an R Factor Man. No, it's never gonna. Once I swear, if R Factor Man wasn't there, or just it gets taken out of the game in future, then I would just be so disappointed, because it's not right without him just screaming in your ear at the start of every race. But anyway, either way, we're just forming up the grid now. But before we go on the formation, I think for me it'll be I'll back Cam. I'm gonna go Cam. I'm gonna join the Brewster fan club. Why not? And I'll also hopefully Churwin as well. I mean, he's got the pace there, and if things can go well, he might be one to watch as well. Gemlinek, as I mentioned, he's always very consistent, so I wanted to watch if things go a bit awry further up. And of course JJ, he's got that pace and he's generally such a crafty racer, we'll be watching him. So I'll go through the grid, or we'll go through the grid, Josh, and then we'll go back to your picks for this one. So on pole, of course, Mr. Cameron Brewster on pole once again. So can he convert it into that second race win? We'll be watching that with earnest over this race. Stefan Rohr, again in second spot, once again up near the top, as he always has been pretty much all season long, continuing his great run of form. Matthew Churwin in third and second, Drake 1 and 3. They'll be super happy with that. Mark Quint in fourth with his teammate Max Melamed following him in fifth spot. Great stuff for Brasilia there. James Johnson with that grid penalty lines up sixth spot with Meinek in seventh. Terrace Gretsch is eighth spot for Zerek, with Rory there in ninth. Apologies, my pronunciation is out the window, so I'm not going to try. He's there for the first Cosmo. Michael Barnard is there in 10th spot, running at top 10 in the second Drake. Rob Mason in 11th in the first of the Epic cars. Again, great stuff from Rob there. He'll be very happy to be just outside the top 10. One to watch throughout this first race. Michel Dijon is there in 12th in the second of the Mad Capes, with Lazarus Philippakos in the Academy car, rounding out the top half of the field.
Yep, and Tommy Cabrera will start in P14 for the second Cosmo car, and then it is Mantas Pomalaitis in 15th for Hinss Motorsport there, and then Bruno Sousa Ferreira, always an ever-present force in the midfield and challenging for points in P16 for Basvik. And then Jared van der Weide, the Australian, making his little run here. Well, I say a little run, it's a fairly big run. It's for Team Eval in P17, Eval Racing. And then it's Sherwin van der Sloot, 18th for Teva Motorsports. Then 19th is Hansko Mebius for YTF1. Hansko will be looking to get further up in the points for certain. Definitely capable of doing so. Paul Joseph, 20th for Epic Racing. Welcome to Epic Paul. I don't think I've seen him drive for them, so going to be interesting to see how he does. Gerrit de Vries, 21st for Back Market Brigade. And then Brett Merkhoff, 22nd in the other BMW car. Then Andrzej Pestovs, a bit far down the field actually, in 23rd, but a consistent driver. Definitely worth looking out for. Edward Patala, 24th for Sports Car Driving Evolution. Then it's Johan Lindberg in 25th for YTF1. And rounding out the field, Niranjan Kumar in the other SD.
And there you go, indeed. So is our order. Quickly as they line up, Josh, who are your picks? Have you got your picks real quickly before we go to the green?
Well, you've jumped on the Brewster bandwagon, so I can't. So I am going to be forced to go for someone else. And honestly, I'm actually going to go for James Johnson. Yeah. And Menno Klont, so it's just a little mix, isn't it, as Kumar lines up.
There we go, yeah, so there's our picks for this one. So either way, here we go, ready to line up. Brett Metcalf was pulled into the lane, so he'll be Yep, alright, so we'll be on board with Sherwin here for this start. He'll get a good view of that front row. So here we go, all lights are on, and we are go for the first race here, Formula Challenge in Yas Marina. It looks like a pretty even start at the front field. Look at that start from Cameron Brewster, a fantastic start. Jumps roll clearly into turn one. Fantastic stuff as they all hold position pretty much at the front. Oh, some spins to the back. Oh, the big crash further back. Who is that? There is a massive crash at the back of the field. That is a good half a dozen guys involved in that. You're looking at pretty much everyone at the back end of the field that has a huge moment back there. But either way, Matthew Sherwin already having to go defensive here against Mike Quinn, who's going to try and do the old switchback around the outside. He doesn't quite hold it. And Sherwin, for the time being, holds, but he's gone deep. Oh, it's Quinn sticks the nose up the inside. And they nearly get through. I was really worried for a spin there, but they've all managed to get through okay. But either way, it is still pretty much line astern at the front. JJ's still down in 60. He's actually going to possibly be under the pump from Linek as they head down that first of the back straights. As Linek tucked in the slipstream, he's having a little bit of a look as they head into the chicane. I don't know if he's quite close enough, and JJ with that slipstream from Maxim Element in front, he holds for the time being. But actually, Lazarus Philipakos having a little look here at Terrace Correct for that top 10 spot. Rob Mason, by the way, shout out to him. He's in 9th. Who's that? That is, oh no, Mike Quinn is around. He's in the wall out of the chicane. I'm not sure what happened there. I'll see if I can pick it up on the replay, but he's already around. Let's have a look. It looks like, yeah, on his own. He just spun on his own. And he's got no front wing, so he's now waiting for the entire field to go through. Real shame for him. That's a real hit there for Scuderia there, Josh, for their results in this first race.
Yeah, looking at that start incident, it seemed like it was Mitchell de Jong, actually, who got involved. He went into the back of Michael Barnard, who outbraked himself slightly and hit Terence Gregg, and that's spun him around. And then, that happened. And then I think he got involved in incidents with a couple of people did de Jong, which is why he so far down. Quint's out. I think Tommy Cabre's got no front wing down the back of the field. But back at the front, where there has been no such incidents, Malinek goes off the pits and is under the threat of Roy Vizail, who is in P7, who's had a great start.
Indeed, yeah, Roy's had a fantastic start. Again, Rob is just behind him. He's in 8th spot. I've got to say, Rob Mason, fantastic start. He's actually looking... It seems like his pace isn't too bad here in this first race. I mean, usually he has at times benefited quite greatly from instance, but he just doesn't have the pace to really to keep touch with guys around him. But he qualified near the top 10. I think his pace isn't too bad though. Lazarus Philipakos is looking quite racy behind him, so Rob may have to watch himself with how he goes there. But as I said, Rob, he's a very, very smart racer. I really do think Robbie's got a very, very smart head on his shoulders. He knows when to fight, knows when to just kind of step back, so he'll be definitely watching that battle. He's got a bit of a tardy exit there. I think he knows Philipakos is going to get him, and he's just going to tuck him behind, I'm sure, and try and get back at him eventually. Although they're going side by side, they're keeping at it, although now he moves across the slipstream of the Academy car there. Terrace Correct just keep holding station, watching these two fight for the time being. Lazarus covering the inside line. See if Rob can maybe hold. He's broken quite late indeed, and he's going to try around the outside. Nice stuff, and I think he's going to do it, but Lazarus again goes to the switchback. These guys having a lovely little ebbing and flowing battle here as they go once again side by side. It's still line astern at the front, everyone pretty much single file. So this is the furthest battle up towards the front of the field. So Rob defending as they head towards the left-hander. But I think has Lazarus got it? No, Rob again breaks late, but I think Lazarus has done it, and he has. So there we go. So Philipakos up to 8th, and Rob back down to 9th. And now he's got Terrace Correct behind him, looking to get past him. And it's actually another beneficiary, two beneficiaries even of that start. But Bruno Sosa Ferreira, 11th spot. He very much benefited from those early instants. Jared Vanderweid's also in the points. He's 12th. Andreas Pestov's in the points as well, thanks to those instants. And look at that, both the Sports Car Driving Revolution cars in the points, 14th and 15th for Batala and Kumar. So those two benefited hugely from the instants on the first lap, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, while that's been happening, I've got a couple of interesting little tidbits of news for you. Firstly, that David Young has actually got in contact and said that Mike Quint retired because his pedal's disconnected and momentarily his wheel as well. So technically she's for Quint.
Oh, it's a real shame. Yeah, that's just one of those things, isn't it? Real shame for him. He had the pace to easily be top 5, but I guess just one of those things, isn't it, that happens in sim racing, whatever unfortunate little things we've got going here. But either way, yeah, very, very interesting start. As Mike is the only retirement so far. Everyone else has been able to keep going, so they have had to pit for repairs, but everyone else has managed to continue on as they were. P5, yep, good spot, yep, Max Melamed and James Johnson. I think James Johnson just making the move on Max there, so he now moves up into 4th spot. Meinek not far behind either. Keep an eye on him to possibly challenge. Even Roy, he's looking pretty paced there as well, as Melamed a little bit tardy under the brakes there. I think JJ has that done and moves up the spot. But again, as I said, there is that slipstream, and we know how powerful it is. So let's see if Melamed can even fight back here against JJ. And that's something that we might have to watch as these races go on. Let's have a look here. Melamed not really gaining as fast as I thought he would. And actually, I think JJ's pretty much got that secured. So he now moves up the spot. And we start the game on those top 3 with Cherwin. By the way, he's still in 3rd, but he has dropped back a little bit off the top 2. So his pace not quite at the level that we have for Brewster and Rob. But Brewster's still holding on the lead at the moment in that drag. Can the dream happen, I guess? Well, we will see as this race goes on. He's in the prime position, but we know how quick Rolt is. We know how relentless he is when he's chasing down for a win. So he'll definitely be going as fast as he can. He does look like he's gaining on Cameron, so it looks like Stefan's pace just a little bit better than Cameron's at this early phase of the race.
It does, yes, at this early point, but as we saw, he's capable of wins. So Rural actually goes for it down into the last corner, tries to go down the inside, and while he's left cam, no choice but to concede that one. Rural goes through into the lead, and well, that's what Stefan Rural does. He does what he wants, goes through into the lead when he wants, and that'll be a relief for him. That will be a relief for him, but it won't be a relief to hear that James Johnson has just done the fastest lap of the race.
There we go, sir. JJ's just cleared, as we saw. He's just cleared Max Melamed, and he's gaining quite rapidly on Matthew Cherwin. So, yeah, it looks like JJ's got the outright pace. As we saw, I mean, if it hadn't been for the penalty, he'd be on pole. So, he's got the pace, and he's showing it right now in this early phase. We'll see how he goes, but depending on where he's got those wings and all that sort of thing, he might be juicy for the podium. And yeah, just saw it as well. Yeah, Max Melamed. Looking like he might be able to pump very, very soon from Meinek there in that battle at the back end of the 5. Again, Roy, look at Roy Vergio. He's right behind it as well, so he might even want a little bit of a taste of the top 5 here. Lazarus Philippakos is just behind these guys, kind of in a world of his own right now, back there in 8th spot. Looking strong in the Academy car, has to be said, here in FC. But either way, Melamed looking like he might be coming under the pump very soon from Meinek. But at the moment, I think he's got enough to stay ahead, but keep an eye on that one for you, because I reckon that's one that could start to develop further as things go on. Bruno says Ferrer still in 9th. He actually jumped Terrace Grex now. I think may have had a mistake somewhere, which is why he's dropped down to 10th now. Joe Vanderweide is now in 11th. It's Rob Mason in 12th. So Rob, unfortunately, has dropped down a bit further, so a bit of a shame for him. But he's still on the points, which is the main thing. But he does have Nirajan Kumar coming at him in that battle for 12th spot. And Kumar looking like his pace is quite nice. Johan Lindberg, too. Keeping in mind he started pretty much at the back. He's up in 14th already there. So he managed to dodge the early lap carnage, and he's already looking pretty strong in there at the back end of the points. That's good stuff for him. Pestov's still in the points, although he's got De Jong coming at him at the moment. And also Paul Joseph, shout out to him. He's in 17th at the moment for Epic Racing, filling in, I believe, for them today. And he's looking pretty strong. Just the back end of the points, managed to dodge that lap 1 carnage, and he's looking not too badly at the current moment. But I'll tell you what, it's interesting to note, isn't it, Josh? The Camry just doesn't seem to have the pace right now. And if anything, it looks like Cherwin may even be able to challenge his teammate here for 2nd spot pretty soon.
Yeah, that may be the case. We've got to crash somewhere. De Jong has had to do, as he has, he's parked quite dangerously in the middle of the track, and now he's going to try and turn it round. He's got to go the wrong way. Why doesn't he just execute the rally tile spin and go round? That is beyond me. He's doing that now, but could have done that a lot sooner. He's now going to lose a lot of time to Tommy Cabrera. And what's happened with Mitchell there? I'm going to have to go back and look. He's got the front wing.
Yeah, I'm just looking back now. It actually looks like Pestov, I think's let him go. So he's tried to let him go, and Jejun has gone through, and then he's just gone straight into the wall. So yeah, just one of those things again. He's retired. There you go. So called it quits there with the damage. So yeah, a bit of a strange one. I think he just seemed like he just put the power on too soon, got caught on the curb maybe, and then went into the wall. I know these curbs, especially with that wheel cars, you can kind of get caught on them a little bit just because of the way they are around some of these curbs. They can sort of catch the car and you just kind of go straight on. So I suspect that's what happened to Jejun there. A bit of a weird one, but there you go. Either way, out of the race for him. A real shame there, as he was looking like he may have had a chance of points. So a bit of a shame for Jejun there. But either way, the race goes on, and at the moment it's stabilising a little bit at the front. James Johnson is still closing in ever so slowly on Cherwin, and I think he might have a shot at him pretty soon. But it's kind of stabilised. Those top 4, they're all pretty much line astern. Likewise with Melamed, Weineck and Roy Vergio as well. They've also stabilised in the top 7, and they're all pretty close. Only 7.3 seconds back to 7th spot right now from the lead. So pretty close in the top part of the field, but it is all pretty stable right now, though James Johnson does look like he's just reeling in Matthew Cherwin ever so slowly at the moment. But either way, outside of that battle for the 5th spot, that's pretty much quieting down right now. Philip Parkos still holding on in 8th, pretty much in his own universe right now. He's got a pretty large gap, about 5 seconds up to 17. He's got about 6 seconds back to Soso Ferreira's. Yeah, James Johnson does another fastest lap. And look at that, he is right on the back now of Matthew Cherwin as they go through this first sector. Long sweeping right-hander here. It's very, there's a bit of a pushing the front left tyre there, James Johnson, pretty hard by looks of the tyre marks he was leaving there. But either way, head into the chicane here at the end of the first sector, starting the second sector. And I tell you what, he's looking very, very nice to have a go here at Matthew Cherwin as they go down first of the back straights. And I reckon with the slipstream, surely he's going to have this done, as I think that battle further behind for 5th might start spicing up again soon too. But either way, looking at this battle for 3rd spot, and yellow versus James Johnson getting the slipstream, goes down the inside to Cherwin, not really fighting it too much. I think he knows that James Johnson is blisteringly fast right now, and yeah, James Johnson through in the 3rd spot. And I think Cherwin, I think he's trying to get the slipstream back, but I think he might know that James Johnson is pretty lightning fast and that maybe this is in his battle. We'll see. They're down towards the left-hand at the end of the second sector.
Yeah, Johnson had done the fastest lap of the race again previously. 1:56.1 is the new best, so he is on form, is Johnson. And well, now only 3 seconds behind Stefan Ruolt, only about 1.5 behind Brewster. So there really is a good chance he could catch Ruolt and maybe go for the win. Because there is still quite a few laps left to go in this race, not even halfway there.
No, yeah, we're still in the early stages. I'm just looking back at this battle for 11th spot. Kumar around the outside, very nice there of Jared Vanderweyde. Tina moves up another spot. Got to say, shout out to Ujang Kumar. Started at the very back, and he's already up in the 11th. Dodged that first lap carnage. I'm pretty sure his teammate was actually involved in that. He couldn't avoid it, unfortunately, but Nirjan managed to avoid it all, and he's in the top. Johan Lindbergh in wall as also Terrence Stretch there going wide. He's going to give... it's all behind. Who's that? That's Jared Vanderweyde in the wall as well. He's lost his front wing, so he's lost tons of time, and I think that's possible points out the window as well. As Johan Lindbergh also in the wall, and he's out as well. Hansko Mebius, he's also DNF'd in this race. So getting a few retirements further down the field. I guess the heat of Yas Marina just starting to take toll on some of the drivers. But Nirjan Kumar, he's going to be looking now at Terrace Gretsch, who's in the 10th spot there. He had to go at him before. Terrace went a bit wide. He went a bit wide into one of the chicanes at the back end of the circuit. And Kumar had a look, but he wasn't quite close enough to make the move stick. But either way, Jared Vanderweyde, he's managed to make to the pit lane, but he's going to have a long repair time for that front wing. And I'd say points may be out of the question. We'll see as the race goes on, though. Still, as we said, still a long way to go in this race. So still plenty of time to make up lost time in the lane. But either way, it's still Stefan Ruolt, who's at the moment leading this race. He's got about 1.3 or so seconds back to Cameron Brewster. He's holding on in 2nd spot, looking not too bad now. It looks like his pace is just kind of coming back to him a little bit after those first few laps. And he's kind of stabilised now in that 2nd spot, but he has James Johnson barreling down on him. As we said already, James Johnson setting continuous fastest laps, just getting faster and faster as this race goes on. So surely you'd think that JJ looking pretty strong to challenge for that 2nd spot pretty soon. Matthew Cherwin, though, still in 4th spot. Holding on at the moment, though, not quite seeming to have the pace of the top 3, but either way, still looking strong in the top 5. As Max Melamed, just noticing that as well, he's having to defend a bit now from Lineck now in that battle for 5th spot. Looking a little bit vulnerable right now is the Scuderia Brasilia driver, the sole surviving Scuderia Brasilia driver now, of course, with Mike Quint having those technical issues, which put him as, Roy! Yeah, just in the background, Roy doing a lovely little bit of drifting there in the background of the 5th place fight, but he holds onto it and holds 7th, which is the main thing, so he's still going, but either way, this 5th spot battle looking pretty nice right now, as I think who's that? Bruno Sosa Ferreira, he's actually now dropped behind Terrence Gretsch now into 10th spot, so Terrace up a spot. Looks like he's just trying to come back to the field after I think he had a little bit of a moment earlier on. As there you go, Johnson again goes fastest. So I'll tell you what, it's pretty impressive, isn't it, Josh? Just the pace that James is able to just continuously keep pumping out in that car.
Yeah, I don't think it was the fastest lap of the race that Johnson just said, but he has improved on his personal... he has improved on his... Well, I think he has improved a bit. At least on the previous lap. He's done a 1:56.935. It hasn't gone purple on the live standard, so maybe not the fastest lap of the race. I think that was a 56.1, but... or 56.0 is the fastest, yeah, so an improvement nonetheless on his previous lap. So, he is there, but Stefan Ruhl's just got a purple sector 1 if we're talking the fastest laps.
Indeed, yeah. Steph.
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, Cameron. Oh, yeah, it looked like a bit of a moment from Cameron there. He managed to hold it, though. Good catch from Cameron there. Nearly was a disaster, but he holds on for the moment. But look at this. James Johnson is looking very, very feisty right now in this battle for second spot. With the slipstream, surely he's going to have a go down the inside. It doesn't look like Cameron's really fighting it too hard. I think, again, he might know that JJ's not really his fight. And, yeah, look, he pretty much lets him go there. I think that was Cameron knowing where his fight is. He knows JJ is setting, purple lap. He probably has been told, I'm sure, that JJ's setting purple laps after purple laps. So he's thought, you know what, this is not my fight. I'll let JJ take the position and I can just have my race and continue on. So either way, JJ now back in the second spot. And I think we may have a bit of a showdown pretty soon between himself and Ruod if JJ keeps this pace going. But regardless of that, Cameron's still a strong race right now, sitting in third spot, sitting nice and comfortably there. With Churgman in fourth, but if anything, Churgman looking a little bit vulnerable now. It looks like Melamed and Leineck are kind of tag teaming themselves up to the top, up to fourth spot, because Churgman's just sliding back into their clutches a little bit. We may well have a three-way fight for fourth spot very, very soon.
Yeah, just to go back to the little thing that happened going into the hairpin, I think JJ actually just clipped Cam a bit. That unsettled him, but he held it really well, did Cam, and didn't have any problems holding it. Obviously, JJ got the move done anyway, but nonetheless, this could be a nice little battle between, well, it could be a lead fight. This is what it's going to be. Johnson versus Ruhl, top two in the championship. What else do you expect?
Yeah, as I was just thinking, it's that showdown. I know they've done it before throughout the season, so it's been a bit since they last did it, from what I understand. Or at least they weren't obviously in the last round because JJ wasn't there, so no duel then. But looks like the duel may well start again, and yeah, look like JJ's already closed the gap down to a second, so JJ looking very strong. I really think, if JJ keeps this up, I don't think Ruhl will have much to fight with. He just seems like he's just that fast. There's actually, I've just it's Mantis. Povlites. I thought that was Leineck had suddenly jumped up to third somehow, or fourth somehow, but it was actually Mantis, who's still going around, by the way. He unfortunately was involved in that lap one calamity, couldn't avoid it, so he's at the back of the field right now. Still going though, so credit to Mantis for that. He's still plugging away, despite being a lap down. So kudos there to him for that one. But either way, Melamed's still holding on in fifth spot, but Leineck is just hounding him away, just chipping away at him, just keeping himself there. If Melamed makes a mistake, then Leineck's there to pick up the pieces quite happily. Roy's still there in seventh spot. He's obviously dropped a bit further back after that little bit of a drift door moment a little earlier on. Philip Harcross still holding on in eighth spot. Once again, he literally is in his own universe right now. Like, he's got 7 seconds up to Roy, and then he's got pretty much 7 seconds back to Terrence, who's also in his own sort of space right now. It's actually Rob Mason and Bruno Sosa Ferreira having a nice little ding-dong 10th spot here. So I think Rob's just passing Bruno Sosa Ferreira there. He now makes the move to get into 10th. Good stuff from Rob, I've got to say, really nice. He'll be happy with that. In 10th spot with Bruno 11th. Mirajan Kumar, I think he had a little spin earlier on. I just caught the end of him having a spin at the chicane in the final sector there. So that's why he's dropped back a little further. But still on the points, which is good to see. Paul Joseph, by the way, shout out to him. Debut in FC, debut for Epic Racing, and he's in 13th right now after starting further back. So that just shows if you just avoid the carnage, keep yourself in clean air and out of trouble, then you can really benefit big time. And he's in the points. Edward Patala, he's also still in the points. I think he had another moment somewhere, but either way, he's still in the points after the lap 1 calamity, so not a bad recovery from him. And Garrett De Vries is actually in the points, so Backmark Brigade currently in the points. So the team of Cabrera may have something to say about that, as he's in 17th, looking pretty feisty on Brett Metcalf for 16th at the moment. But either way, looking back at this fight at the front, JJ's holding on, not quite there yet. 9/10 off the back as, yeah, look at this, looking at Churgwin. that's lap car. Yeah, that's where Mantis is gonna, I keep seeing him thinking it's Leineck, but it's actually Mantis, so disregard. But yeah, either way, it's a bit of a quieter period, isn't it, Josh? I think we see this a lot, don't we? It's this kind of period about now where it just quietens down a bit, and then it all starts spiking up again with about 2 or 3 laps to go.
Yeah, it does. That's just sometimes the way it works. I don't think Paul Joseph has actually. I don't think this is a debut. I think he has done 4-minute challenge races before, but we haven't seen him very often this season. So it's going to see him out there nonetheless doing his job. But yeah, to go back to this whole being quiet thing, it's not always quiet because we've got battles on. We've got Melamed Minek, which is starting to develop, and we've got the obvious Johnson Ruhl fight. To look a bit further back, we obviously have the fight for the sort of lower points, and then Tommy Cabrera and all that trying to get into the points. But yeah, sometimes it does get to the point where people just spread out a bit, and and Melamed makes a mistake.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, Lynek's through. There you go. So Leineck just gets it handed to. Let's have a look. I'm just going to look back in the replay what happened here. Let's have a look. I just went wide. Yeah, just went wide through the left-hander there, just under the hotel. He's just gone too deep, gone wide, and Malineck's gone, thank you very much, and I'll take that, and he's just gone straight through. So, yeah, there you go. So Malineck in the top 5. Look at this, Melamed is looking very, very feisty to get that back. He'll be a little bit annoyed with himself for that, so he'll be a little bit wanting blood, I think, a little bit after that mistake, but... Oh, there you go. So yeah, Menno's mentioning there, Malineck looking like he has better tyres. So there you go, which would correlate, because Malineck's he's looked pretty straight throughout this whole race. Whereas I've been noticing Melamed being a little bit squirrely out of corners and under braking, even just being a little bit slidey, which isn't helping his tyres any good. So yeah, that would actually correlate with what I've been sort of noticing throughout this race. But either way, we'll see if Malineck can pull away. He's already actually pulled a nice little gap of a few car lengths. We'll see if he can continue to pull away here, and maybe even challenge Churgwin, because he's only just up the road. So we'll see if we can possibly challenge Churgwin for a top 4. But looking at this gap at the front, James Johnson's currently 1.2. So if anything, Rort's actually just slightly open that gap back up again over JJ, just controlling the lead right now. So for the time being, Rort seems to be able to have the answer over JJ. I think he just opened that gap up ever so slightly once again in that middle sector. But for the time being, Rort's got JJ's number, but whether that will be the same in the last couple of laps, I'll have to see. Because as we mentioned, once these tyres start to wear, especially once they start to get a bit too hot, they start to overheat, they just completely fall away, and the grip just pretty much completely falls away from you. So as you have P15, yep, Timu Cabrera, there you go. He's actually got 15th, got past both the B&B cars to get himself into the points. So Garrett De Vries drops to 16th, Brett Metcalf down 17th, but they're in the slipstream right now. We'll see if Garrett can maybe fight back on Cabrera. It doesn't look like he's really close enough. If anything, his teammate's looking a little bit more feisty. Have a look at him. And it holds for the moment with that. Keeping in mind as well, Joe Vanderway's not far behind this. Keeping in mind he had that spin, so he's had to pit, get repaired, and he's actually not far off 15th. He's only about 4 seconds off the back of Cabrera. So, and we know his pace is pretty solid there, so we'll see if maybe Vanderway can get back into the points before this race is out. That'd be quite a nice result for him, considering the instance he has, or the incident he had earlier on. Either way, we've had 5 retirements so far, so 21 drivers left in this race after that initial calamity at the first corner. And yeah, look at that Malineck. Look, the gap he's already opened up over Melamed. He's looking very nice, and he is possibly, we will see, but might well have a shot with Churgwin. He's looking quite nice, but Churgwin doing well. Got to be said to the Drake boys. I mean, they've managed to convert once again. They've converted this qualifying pace into race results. 3rd and 4th, I think. I know Mike Phillips. He'll be pretty wrapped with that. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Rob's had a bit of a do, and he dropped it out the last corner, hit the barrier, and now he's got to go a whole lap without a front wing.
Ooh. Oh yeah, lost the rear very. Ooh, that's a real shame for Rob. He's in 13th once again, done his usual sort of deal of just keeping himself out of trouble, but unfortunately it just hasn't happened. That little mistake, and yeah, it's literally the worst spot that could possibly happen. Right at the start when he finds, he's got to do a whole lap without a wing, and if anything, that may well give a shot to the B&B boys. Maybe one of them might be able to get points. As I said, Joe Vanderway's just coming back through the field, and he's got some pretty good pace right now, especially, of course, he should be, I would say, on fresher tyres as well. So we will see, but Vanderway's looking pretty racy with Garrett De Vries right now, so we'll see if he can maybe get into the points. He should be a fighting chance now that Bob's limping around. He will, of course, drop further back, so we will see. But gap at the front, by the way, 1 second. So JJ's just brought it in a little bit. We'll see as they cross the line now. I think Rob was a little bit tardy on the exit there, and it shows with that 8/10. So here we go, Josh. I think that duel might well be close to starting, as I think we've got 2 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, Johnson is really starting to put the hammer down here on Rualt. I think he's going to want to try and cast the judgment as much as possible. He must think he can win. Stefan must think he can win. And with a little over 2 laps to go, or a little under 2 laps to go even, this is set to be interesting.
Yeah, it is indeed. This could be a very, very nice little duel at the end of the race, although Rualt has managed to just open it back up by a 10th in that first sector. It's back out to 0.9 of a second. And for the time being, Rualt seems to just have the measure on JJ's. Making, as I said, that last corner is a little bit tardy out of the exit, and that's, I think, where he lost those few tenths. But, you know, he's just overall managing to keep the car on the straight and narrow. Keep it nice and consistent so that JJ doesn't get a chance to be able to have a shot at him at any point in this circuit. So we'll see those. They head through down the back, second to the back straights as they head on the second last lap, the penultimate lap, before they head on to the final lap of the race. Cameron Bruce, though, still holding on in third spot. He's dropped off quite considerably now. As Mason, gets into the pits finally for that damage, so he will drop outside the points. That now promotes Gerrit de Vries into the points, but Van der White has managed to get around Brett Metcalf, and I think he might well have a good shout at getting that 15th and managing to salvage a point, which is a pretty good effort, as I said, considering he had that moment earlier on, had to pick the repairs, so he'll be happy with that, I think, as a recovery drive. Yep, Cameron Bruce is still holding on in third spot. That'd be good for Drake, with Churgwin still also holding on in fourth. Meinek still in fifth. Hasn't really been able to close down Churgwin as much as would be hoped, but either way, they're all still pretty line ball back there, but we will keep focused on the leaders, because this fight is looking very close indeed. 8/10 now between the two of them, and JJ's just starting to put the hammer down that little bit more. He's a little bit caught in the curb there out of the second last corner, but that gap does look much closer now. It's got to be close to half a second, surely even less. Faster they go, faster lap from JJ as well. He's putting the hammer down right where it needs to be. 5/10 of a second between these two. We have a very nice fight, Josh Randerson, for this lead as we enter the final lap of this race.
Yeah, it was a quick lap from JJ, not necessarily fastest lap of the race again, but he's showing his stuff. It was 3/10 quicker than Ruwald's last, so he is really proving, making a case for himself, if anything. And he goes purple sector 1, so he's showing just how much he wants this as they come down onto the back straight. Then James Johnson, he's probably got enough to get a little draft, maybe not enough to get him on this back straight, but he knows this is going to be one of his opportunities. He's going to try and make something of it. Ruwald's even going defensive. He thinks he's that under threat.
Yeah, no, look. Yeah, we've got to, and it looks like Van der White has managed to get to 15th. We'll focus on the leaders. Look at this, JJ is right on Ruwald right now. He's almost pushing him through. As he gets a little bit of a slide there, he just lost the rear ever so slightly, and that may actually give Ruwald the respite he needs to hold that lead. So right where he need to be nice and planted there, he just lost the rear end. I think that, look at that. That has been enough for Ruwald to hold, but look at how close he is. He's pretty much almost pushing Ruwald through this final sector. Just so much pace that JJ is managing to hold in this last lap, despite the distance, despite it being 14 laps in. He's still got pretty insane pace, but right now it's looking like Ruwald looks like he might be able to hold. There's not really any major chances. It's a pass as JJ nearly runs up the back of Ruwald there, just braking as late as he dared, and probably not quite prepared for where Ruwald was braking there into that right-hander. But either way, look at this. Stefan Ruwald's been chased all race long by James Johnson, but it's looking like as long as he holds it together here through this final corner, he's going to win the first race here at the Yas Marina circuit. Great race from Ruwald. Very nice stuff. Great stuff from JJ there to take second spot. Great recovery drive from him. Nearly a win. So close, but he'll be very happy with that. That's some very solid points to his championship. Cameron Brewster, certainly not to be outdone. Great result from him there. Gets another podium to his name. Great, nice and steady drive from him. Churgwin as well in fourth spot, so he does very well there. Just looking through Lazarus Philippakos and Terrace Gretsch. They're having a nice little ding-dong here over 8 spots. They go into the final few corners. Terrace is he's almost pushing Lazarus along as they go into the final corner. I think Lazarus has got it. Yes, he does. Good result for him too in the Academy car, has to be said. As I'm just looking back through the field, it looks like everyone else is pretty secure. So again, Cameron Bruce, as I said, in third spot there. Good stuff for Drake, with his teammate Matthew Churgwin following up in fourth spot. I'm sure that the Drake boys were very happy with that. Some very, very nice points for their championship campaign. Leinek managing to get 5th spot there in the top 5. Another great result from him there for Hinss Motorsport, with Max Melamed securing 6th for Scusi Brasilia. Roy Vergeau there getting in 7th spot for the first of the Cosmos. Good result in the end from him. Some good solid points there. With Lazarus Philippakos getting into 8th in the Academy cards. Good stuff for him in his drive there. Terrace Gretsch managing to get into 9th for the Zederic boys, with Bruno Sosa Ferreira getting the top 10 there. Very nice stuff. But it has to be said for him. He'll be happy with that result, I'm sure. Nirajan Kumar, also another shout out for him there. Starting near the back, managed to avoid the early carnage to get to 11th spot. That's good stuff for him. Paul Joseph, a nice result for his fill-in drive for Epic Racing to get 12th spot, with Edward Vitala managing to get 13th for double points for them. Cabrera managing to get 14th, so it's double points for Cosmo, with Jared Vanderweide rounding out the points there in the Eval car. Good recovery after the spin he had throughout the mid-portion of that race. And retirements, rest of the field, Metcalf 16th, De Vries 17th, Michael Barnard, a bit of a quiet race fin there in 18th with Rob Mason in 19th after the moment on the front straight. Mantis Pulverizes in 20th, and Andrews Pestovs rounds out your finishes. Schuen Van Slot, Hansko Mebius, Johan Lindberg, Michelle de Jong, and Mike Quint are your retirements for this first race. So there you go, Joshua. There you go. That was, quite an intense last lap battle, wasn't it? We certainly got our money's worth out of that final lap.
Yeah, we did. We got a nice little battle for the lead, and Rualt Johnson was a really, really good fight. You know, it was a really interesting one to watch. A shame JJ didn't get it. He was so close, but well deserved from Rualt. You know, as has been this championship form this season, as Stefan really showing his championship credentials and proving why he deserves it as much as Johnson.
Indeed, yeah, no, very nice stuff from Stefan there. Very good result, very consistent. That's why I noticed they're very, very straight to drive. Just did what you need to do. You know, kept JJ at arm's length as long as he needed to. Kept that gap for as long as he could, and just so happened to have it for the end. As I mentioned, though, I think if JJ hadn't have had that moment, he just had that lost the rear just a little bit out of the chicane down the second of the back straights there. If he hadn't have had that little moment and lost that little bit of time he needed, I reckon he may have had a shout at trying to pass Stefan into that left-hander. But obviously, this is racing. It's not always how you envision it. And yeah, just those little moments like that are all it can take sometimes to cost you a difference between a win and the second spot. But yeah, very, very nice first race, I've got to say. Very nice. Not the most, I don't think it's the most action-packed we've ever had in Formula Challenge, but some good battles nonetheless, and some good recovery drives too, as I said, with a few people there having little moments early on or throughout the race and still managing to, get a good result in the end. But it's going to be interesting to see who can get the reverse grid now. That's always the question now as we head towards the second race. Of course, it's positions 10 to 15 are picked a random number between those two numbers are picked, and that is the reverse grid number. And then, of course, from that number up to the top is flipped around. So we'll see who will get the lucky number. I tell you what, I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping Paul Joseph gets it. I think that'd be quite cool. You know, he comes in fills in for Epic, and then he gets a reverse grid in race 2. That'd be quite something, wouldn't it? If you for a fill-in drive.
Yeah, it would be quite something. And obviously, Bruno Sousa Freire, Nunjan Kumar, Paul Joseph, Edward Mataro, Tommy Cabrera, and Jared Van der Weide, the potentials for reverse grid pole in this race. And it is 10 for 15. So it would be nice to see him get it. Yeah, I mean, let's see what he can do with it if he does.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, it'll be all decided in the next sort of few minutes. Our race director, Chris, will announce that very, very soon. But what I will mention, I'll just go through the current. Well, this is not adjusted to this first race, but before this round, the current team standings, because I didn't get to go through that before the. Cheers, R Factor Man. Thanks for that. But yeah, so I'll just go through the team standings real quick while we are doing a little bit of the build-up to the second race here. So Madcap still leading at the moment on 5.62. Again, this will be obviously updated after these two races tonight. But 5.62 before this round, despite both their cars not being at Suzuka. So that's interesting to see. Deltec, of course, with Stefan with his results in second with 485. The Scuderia Brasilia in third with 425. Drag Racing currently fourth on 376, but they're looking good to possibly start to close down the Scuderia ahead of them, especially with Quint. They're having those issues in the first race. That's a nice little bundle of points they've gotten over their rivals. Epic Racing currently in fifth on 303 with T4 in sixth on 291. Arrow, I don't think with either driver here tonight, so that's points gone for them, although they're currently on 288. Whether they'll stay in that spot, we will see. YTF1 in 8th on 227 with Zederic on 213. And running at slot 10 is currently Cosmo on 168 points. So that is your current top 10 in the team standings. But we've just reloaded now for the second race. And any moment now, hopefully, we should have our race director, Chris Williamson, announcing who is going to be that very, very lucky person who gets a reverse grid. I've got to say, I've always hated the reverse grids because whenever I've got them, I've done really badly. So I think I prefer not to get it because I think I just can't do reverse grids. That's my experience, I guess, with the reverse grid role.
I've had reverse grid in second, and it is very scary. I think I've only had it once here, though, and it was back in 2013. I think the less said about that, the better, though.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think I'm the same. I think just that prospect of being up there and being at the front with all the fast guys coming through is a bit daunting. But either way, The reverse grid is 14th for race 2, which is Cabrera, of course, on pole. So there you go. So Cosmo, get the lucky tick. Van der Weyde, unfortunately, missing out by one position. It's always a pain when you miss out by that one position. But just luck of the draw, as it literally is, with the way the reverse grid works. But Cabrera will line up on pole position. I know they'll put Paul Joseph in third, so that'll be interesting to see how we can go there. But yeah, that's going to be interesting then. We'll see how this all pans out. We've got about 4 minutes now more up before we go to the second race. But yeah, this should be a fascinating second race, Josh. Who we looking at as a bird decides to chirp himself awake outside my window? But anyway, either way, what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts for the second race with the reverse grid as it's going to be?
Well, firstly, of course, it's one of my cars on pole, so that gets the honorary woohoo! But yeah, second race, it's going to be all about who can really make the most of it. I mean, Tommy's got pole. He seems a good starter, so if he can hold off the likes of, the people behind him, like Joseph and that, then he can probably hold first for a while. But then you got to look at the guys who are quite quick, like, the likes of Rural, who can come through so easily.
Yeah, indeed, no, very true. Yeah, you've got to, especially as well with, I think as well with Yas Marina, we've seen the pace difference quite extreme here at this circuit, so the gaps are kind of exaggerated almost compared to some of the other circuits. I think it's just the nature of this track. It kind of, that's sort of the end result with a lot of the racing. I think F1, you find a similar sort of recipe develops there. So yeah, with the gaps, I feel like that threat from the guys applying is going to be especially pronounced. So we'll see. We will see. I think we're going to have some very fascinating slipstreaming action this race. I think we could even have some 3 wide moments, I suspect. Maybe even 4 wide if the guys are feeling a little bit adventurous in the second race. So we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have lap 1 crash like we did in race 1. Didn't get to see what actually caused that, unfortunately. Wasn't able to go back and see that, of course, being lap 1, watching what was going on at the front. But if there's anything that was going on there, I'm sure the DC will look at it. But yeah, either way, it should be a fascinating race. I'm quite keen to see how this one goes, and we'll see if a few of the guys, obviously Mike Quint, is one to watch, is at the back of the field. He'll be trying to come back through the field after those issues in the first race. Fingers crossed for his sake that those issues don't rear their heads again, and hopefully he can have a nice clean run in this second race. But yeah, this should be good fun. Should be good fun in this second race here at Yas Marina. What are your thoughts? That's something we never talked about in the prelude. What's your thoughts on the circuit, Josh? Because I think it's a bit of a track that I feel like gets mixed bag. I think you got some people who really like it, some that just despise it, and you probably got some in the middle as well. It's a bit of an all over the place one like that.
It's an interesting one. I mean, I quite like it myself. I mean, it's a bit of an interesting one because it's got all its differences. It's got long straights and tight corners, so you got to sit your car up. It's kind of like Spa in that sense, You've got to find the balance between the fast and the slow, because there's fast sections at Spa, but then again, you've got to balance it out with the slow corners. It's like the old Hockenheim, there was a huge stadium section where you just set your car up for the speed, but you had to deal with the stadium section, which was tight, and you had no downforce. So it's kind of a mix and match of that, really, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah, indeed, and that's something I think will be interesting with Super Cup tomorrow. Or tomorrow night, of course, Super Cup tomorrow night, and Super League to round out the career later week. But yeah, Super Cup will be interesting, I think, because I'm not actually entirely sure whether it's going to be high downforce or medium downforce. Because I was just on before this, doing some laps trying to figure out which way was the way to go. I'm not entirely sure on which way that would be. So we'll see. I'm leaning towards high downforce. We'll see. That could be fascinating because we may well have guys on high downforce and then medium, and then have all sorts of weird combos going on. A bit like Montreal. I think there was a couple of guys on high downforce there. Most of the field was on medium, which made it quite a interesting race going on there. But we'll see. But yeah, it is definitely, I definitely agree. It's a bit of a mixed bag track. Definitely got the long straights of the first sort of half of the track, so you obviously want minimal downforce. But then you've got that second half of the track, which is very tight and twisty, and obviously promotes what you want downforce for. So I guess you're trying to find that balance, strike that balance between the two. You're probably looking to try and get away with as little downforce as you can, without losing too much time in that final half of the circuit. So it's definitely unique. I think Yas Marina's got that going for it. It's a very unique circuit, which probably is why it's not everyone's favorite track. I think some people a little bit sort of like, it's not like great. I think I'm in the middle. I think I'm in the middle on that one. I think I'm a little bit, yeah. It's not the worst track, but I'm not a huge fan. But it's all right. I think I'm in the middle there. It's all right. So yeah, but either way, Warm-up time has just ran out, so I'll be looking towards moving to the formation lap very, very soon. So before we go to the formation, Josh, who are your picks this time? I'm going to make you go first this time. You're not making me go first, Josh. I'm going to you to put your picks out first. So who's your picks for this second race?
Well, you're making us go first. Well, that's awfully nice of you, isn't it? Well, thanks for starters, but yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one to pick because obviously, reverse grid never really goes the way it can throw up so many surprises, can't it? So, if I had to pick, which I do, I would probably be tempted to go for. You see, I'm no good at this unless I have the grid in front of us. That's why I'm stalling, because I don't have the grid in front of us and I can't remember who's where. I have a memory like a goldfish.
No, I think I'm the same. So that's.
But I will go first when I have the grid in front of us.
Here we go. Wait for it.
Oh, there you go. Well,
There
now
it
I
is.
can go first. You know what? I'm gonna go for Terence Gregg.
All right.
I'm going to go
Interesting,
for Gregg.
okay.
I think he has it in him for a race win from there. But he's got to watch out for the likes of Johnson and Ruwelt and Brewster and Churquin.
Okay. Yeah, no, we saw his pace, as I said, we saw his pace in qualifying. I think he was only 1.2 seconds or so off the lead, which, again, as I said, because of Yas Marina and how it is, that's probably equivalent to what would be like half a second maybe or less on other tracks. So that's what you got to keep in mind. So, yeah, I have to agree. I think Greg's one to watch for sure. I think he's one to generally watch in reverse grids. He gets himself into nice spots there, and even it'll be interesting to see where the likes of Kumar and Butella end up. But either way, as we go on the formation lap, drivers doing that now. I've got Timu Cabrera on pole for the Cosmo Autosports, so he'll be hoping to convert that into a good result. Elba Butala in second spot there. He'll be happy with that after, as I say, he started pretty much at the back in the first race, so it's a good net gain for him. Paul Joseph there in third, so wonder what to see how he goes here as he does his fill-in drive for Epic Racing. Here's Jane Kumar in the second of the SDE cars in fourth spot, with Bruno Soso Ferreira in fifth spot. The ever reverse grid Bruno Soso Ferreira. He'll be one to watch to see if he can convert that into a result for his second race. Terra Scratch, as we said, one to watch to possibly be towards the front here in the second race for Zederic, with Lazarus Philippakos there in the seventh spot. Roy Verjao in eighth in the second Cosmo, with Max Melamed in ninth for the Scuderia. Malinek there in 10th in the first of the Hinss Motorsport cars, with Matthew Churgwin in 11th in the first of the Drags, followed by his teammate Cameron Brewster in 13th in the second Drag, and rounding out the first half, actually I'll go through to the end of the reverse grid, why not, James Johnson 13th in the first of the Mad Capes, and rounding out the reverse grid switches is Stefan Rualt, who'll be lining up in 14th spot.
Guy around the wire finds himself in P15 just outside of the reverse gridders, and while he'll be hoping to gain some places from the P15, the Eval car, and Brett Metcalf P16 for Batman Brigade, the Garrett DeVries 17th in the B&B, and it's pretty much race one, race order from here. Michael Barnard 18th for the Deltec, Rob Mason 19th for the Epic Racing, then it's Manta Spotlight is 20th, rounding up row 10 Pains Motorsports, then it's Andres Pet Stops, hoping to make a bit of an improvement from P21 for Zedek Racing, and it's going to be P22 for Sharon van der Sloot in the TFR, P23 for Hansel Mebius, 24th for Johan Lindberg, both in YTF1s, and rounding out the grid is Mitchell de Jong in 25th in the Mad Cape, and 26th for Mike Quitt for Scuderia Basilia. Now, this should be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this one. We got some very interesting positions for a lot of the guys in the field. So as we said, the guys at the front, they'll have some very, very hard charging, fast guys at the back. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where the likes of JJ and Roth, as always, it's going to be interesting to see where they end up, but especially so with the likes of Churgwin and Brewster in amongst them. I suspect the Drags, they might be a little more racy this race. I think in that first race, they're a little bit just being safe. I think they just wanted to get a nice top five, because as we saw, they didn't really fight JJ too much when he was coming back through. So I think in this one, it might not be the same. I think it'll be racier, so we'll see if that can maybe throw in some extra spanners in the already many dozens of spanners that are currently in the works, being the reverse grid of race 2. As we wait now for the back of the grid there, just the last few guys coming around now to line up on the grid. I think we're waiting on Sherwin Van Slot there to slide into his grid position. Alright, looks like we're good to go. Lights coming on. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights into the second race. We are away here in Yas Marina And it's a look at the top against Brasilia Batalla there. A bit of a shoddy start for him. And actually let Gretsch going down the inside in 2-1. Oh, it's contact. There's a massive crash again in the first corner. I think it's I think it's Philip Parkos. He's involved. There's a bunch, I feel the Drags having to go evasive action in that first corner. A bunch of guys. And Linek again, 6th spot. He's really gained in this first lap carnage. But either way, Cabrera, he leads into the end of the first sector. Batalla second. Kumar third with Vericha. He managed to dodge that too. He's now into 4th spot. Great stuff from Roy. Gretsch, he's in 5th, but he's got Linek right behind him. Cameron Brewster in 7th spot with James Johnson. He managed to avoid the lap 1 carnage. He's in 8th. One who didn't avoid it. Rod's down in 19th. He didn't. Always further back. There's more contact than it was Van der Weide, and I believe that was Pestov having a bit of a moment. But yeah, one of the guys not to avoid that carnage is Stefan Roth. He's 19th, as I think he had to take some evasive action as all the carnage started to unfold. So real shame for him. He's got a bit of a task ahead of him. But either way, as we head towards the end of the second sector, it's Timo Cabrera leading right now from the 2 STE cars. It's actually Patel's actually coming out of the pump from his own teammate. I think he might be letting him go. He is. So there you go. Kumar now takes hold of second. I think Linek behind. He's actually having a look at Gretsch now for 5th spot. Oh, a bit of contact between the two, but Linek manages to get the position done, and now he's going to be under the pump from the likes of Brewster and JJ's. Further back, I think that's Rob Mason. He's having to take the off track there as he went too deep into the left-hander. I tell you what, Josh, this has been a pretty manic first lap.
Yeah, it's been a bit crazy, and I think, well, Neeraj Kumar almost makes a really good move for the lead there on Cabrera. Luckily, Tomo manages to hold him off, at least luckily for Tomo he does. Obviously, well, want to hold this, and I think he is going to lead a lap here, Tomo Cabrera, as he comes up the second to last, now in the last, unless Neeraj Kumar, he's not going to lunge, he's not going to try anything. He knows not to. He's really good in open wheel as these, but Tomo Cabrera is going to lead a lap as we come on to lap 2.
There you go. So yeah, Cabrera leads the end of the first lap. Shout out to the field though. That even though a bit of a manic first lap, everyone is still going. So it looks like no one's got any major damage, and everyone's still going. So credit to the field for that. Also, another beneficiary of the first lap shenanigans. Swear no bias. Mantis Popolitis in 12th spot in the Seconds Motorsport cars. He also is a great beneficiary of the first lap shenanigans. Van Sluis, like Sherlin, he managed to get up to 14th for Tapor, so he's also benefited quite nicely from the lap 1 shenanigans. As I think further back, there's a big crash further back. Oh, who's that? That's Barnard and Mebius have had a big old crash in the first sector. I'll see if I can quickly pick up what's happened here. Okay, it looks like, yeah, it actually looks like, I think it was one of the Deltas. Yeah, Barnard just had a moment and then just spun. Yeah, in front of the field as, yeah, we've got moves going on further on. Kumar having a look at Cabrera. As, yeah, Greg under the pump from Linek in 4th spot. Look at them behind him. They're just all chomping the bit to have a crack at Terrace. He's got so many. Look at him, almost 3 wide. I think it's JJ and Roy having a look. I mean, look at that. There's Cameron at the back end of it. He's having a look as well. I think it's Churgwin and Melamed also side by side. But it looks like Linek, he's going to go round the outside into the left-hander. He gets the move done. Great move from Linek there to get in the 4th spot. Terrace down to 5th, and look at that, he's got JJ, he's got Roy, he's got Cameron all behind him looking to get past. And I'll tell you what, and look at that, JJ, he's so close. I think he's going to have a look down into the right hander, has a look, but pulls out of the move in the end. It's Bruno. Bruno has just given Cameron Brewster a bit of a tap there, so that's a bit of a moment there. Cameron drops back and actually gives Melamed now a chance to come back through. Churgwin also having a look at Bruno as they go through the final sector. Very, very tight right now at the front end of the field. But throughout all of this, Cabrera still leads. He's actually got 2 laps. There you go, Cabrera still in the lead. Kumar's still able to find a way past. He holds on the 2nd spot. Batala's still 3rd, so the STE boys still doing pretty well. Meanwhile, look at JJ having a look into turn 1. Can he get the move done? And I think he will this time. Terrence might try for the switchback. He does. JJ in a bit deep. And I think Terrence might try. Roy's having a look as well. So, Terrence just pushes JJ almost off the track there. There's a little bit of authority there. He says, no, JJ, this is my line. You're not going to get it, so there you go. So a bit of a tight fight, Josh. This fighting here at the back end of the 5 is really intense.
Yeah, I was watching Roy before, and it's like Terrence went on the inside, and then he had my leg down the outside. He couldn't go anyway. He was forced into a line he couldn't deal with, and then everyone decided to have a go at him for the move. And luckily, he's managed to hold on to 7th and stop the rot in that sense. But Cam has obviously got Max to worry about, and is closing in on Roy. Roy's trying to close in on Greg and Johnson as well. It's all starting to go a bit wrong for the Dutchman, but, he's still holding on.
Oh, and there was contact. There was between the two. Ooh, that was, and now Roy's trying to look for as well. This battling is just very, very intense. It looked like Terrence almost tried to go back up the inside, but JJ just pretty much shut the door, and there was a little bit of a touch between the two. Look at this, Roy in the slipstream. You got Cameron once again on the outside. They're going to almost go 3 wide as Roy goes down the inside. Will he make the move stick? I think he will. Oh, Cameron, was a bit of a domino effect there, and that's actually let Chergwin through as Melamed got kind of hung out to dry. Oh, Melamed nearly losing it there through the final sector. Holds on, but Roy up to 6th, Terrence down to 7th. Now as Quint's apparent. Yeah, Quint's still going there, but either way, look at the lead. Look at this battle at the lead. We almost have a 4-way fight at the front of the field. Cabrera's still holding on at the front, but it is still it's actually opened up a little bit, that battle at the 6th spot. It looks like if anything, Terrence is actually looking at getting back at Roy, which is quite interesting to see. But either way, Cabrera 3 laps he's led now in this race. Kumar just can't seem to find a way past. Patella holding on in 3rd there is a bit of a rear gunner for his teammate. Weineck now in 4th, looking quite racy at the moment, but he's also going to have James Johnson reeling them in as he's now in clear air, so watch that with interest. But this battle for 6th is still pretty close. Roy hasn't actually been able to gap Terrence. Terrence seems to have just stabilised a little bit, and he seems to be able to hold on for the time being as they go towards the hairpin as they end the first sector there. They start sector 2, and yeah, Terrence looking a lot racier now, as I think his pace has just sort of equalised now as the race has just started to get into its middle phase. Mantis Pavlaitis too, I think, having to defend at the moment from Stefan Roalds, who's up to 13th, by the way, so the charge continues for him. He's on the back of Pavlaitis now, and I think he might well get that move done pretty soon as they head towards the chicane. Looking up here, look at this Terrence. Yeah, Terrence is up, and yeah, Kumar now into the lead with a mistake from Cabrera. But Kumar now takes the lead. Patella's going to now be looking to have a go there. I also noticed that Terrence is having a go at Roy Vergeo as well for that battle for 6th spot, which is really heating up once again. But either way, Cabrera having to go defensive as they head towards the left-hander. I think Patella's, is he going to try around the outside? Surely not. He's going to try. He's going to stick it in there. Cabrera, there's contact. No.
That was.
Yeah, well, again, kudos to Bottom Minek and JJ. Managed to avoid that instant. Good stuff from them to not get involved. Oh, Cabrera. Oh, there's still contact between Cabrera and I think it's Cameron Brewster as well, so it's all kicking off further back. Melamed's out. Melamed's out. Big crash in the final sector there. Let's have a look what happened there. I think it is, yeah. So it looks to me like, I think it's a disconnect from Melamed. Yeah, it's either a disconnection from the game or a disconnection of his hardware. It almost looked like maybe in his pedals or something, or his wheel disconnected. So a bit of a weird one there for Melamed. But either way, he's out. So Melamed out of the race. 3rd retirement of the race. But Joshua, I'm out of breath after that manic little lap right there. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of an interesting one. But just to go back to the... Edward went down the inside of that corner, and I don't know whether he thought it was going to work or not, but, his car must have caught Tommy. Tommy was trying to go for the corner, maybe thought there was more space than there. That's one for the DC. Obviously, I'm sad that Tommy's gone down, but, at the same time, he's still in P7. That is a respectable position, and obviously you could argue James Johnson would have got ahead anyway, but, Tommy won't be happy about it.
Indeed,
and, especially as Edward is actually, especially he's come off worse than Tommy.
Yeah, indeed. No, it's as you say, we've gone for the DC. They'll look into that after the race. But either way, I think it's Roy Vergeo going extremely defensive against, I believe that's Teres Gretsch there in that battle. It's still raging for 5th spot, by the way. That battle is still going on. And look at this, Roy going defensive on the inside. Terrence tries to go for the cutback here. He's going to try and get the good exit out of the chicane to have it go into the left-hand round. I reckon he may have a good shot. He's right tucked into the slipstream. I think Cameron Brewster, Brewster just getting past Cabrera in the background. But either way, Roy going defensive once again. It's almost similar to the last lap, but 2 different drivers this time. Is Terrence also, is he going to try the outside? Is he? No, he's not. Terrence pulls out of it and instead lets Roy take the corner. So that battle for 5th continues on. I think Cabrera actually retook Cameron Brewster there. So Drake Boys 8th and 9th. They haven't really moved any further forward than they were before. And I think Stefan Rolt has finally gotten past Mantis Pavlaitis, and he's actually stuck in behind Bruno Soso Ferreira right now for that battle for 11th spot. As Rob Mason actually in the points, by the way, shout out to him in 13th with Van Sherwin still in the points, 14th for Tafor, and Mike Quint in 15th. He's actually managed to get into the points now after starting at the back, so shout out to Mike. But either way, interesting to see is I think Weineck may have had a moment somewhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's dropped off quite massively off the back of JJ, so I suspect But yeah, he has. I think Mlinek's actually had a moment in that final sector, so he's now dropped further behind JJ, but still in the top 3, which is the main thing for him. But either way, Kumar holding on to the lead right now, 3 seconds clear of JJ. But what we've got to obviously keep in mind, Joshua, is that he's got now a charging JJ coming at him at warp speed.
Yeah, well, that said, he is matching JJ in terms of lap times. If we look at his last lap, it was a 56.4, and JJ's was 56.6, so 56.5. So I've said before, Niranjan Kumar, pace-wise, is phenomenal when he's at his best. He can stick it when he's at his best with the best of them. He is one of the quickest drivers, I'd say, in this field on raw pace alone. But it's his consistency that is let him down most of the time. If he can consistently keep those tyres in check and match JJ on pace, he might have a chance of winning this. But he has to do both those things.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I have to definitely back you up on that. I mean, Kumar, I've seen him multiple times show that he's got very nice pace. It's just, it's that consistency. He either gets involved in incidents or, has spins and the like that pretty much cost him the chance of getting those really good results. So this is his moment. This is his moment to shine. This might be the chance he's been looking for to really show himself in this series. He actually opened that gap again. It's 3.4 seconds. He's actually opening the gap over James Johnson. And again, this is no small feat. I mean, as we've seen throughout the season, JJ is super fast and super consistent in these cars. It sounds to me like he just knows these cars. I think he's figured out how these cars work and how to drive them quickly. So he's just so quick in these things. And Kumar's actually beating him right now. We'll see how this last sector is. But it's looking not bad, to be honest, just by the eyes. Oh, as Batella's gone off, half spin for him, and that's going to drop him way down the order. He drops to, well, not way down, but down to 7th, so that drops him outside of a chance of podium now as he drops into that battle at the back end of the 10. Terence is still on 5th. They've actually gone up now, of course, with Batella going wide, so that now gives Rory up to 4th spot in this race. Excuse me. As I got to say, actually, Mlinek not looking too pacey right now. I suspect what I would be thinking may have happened is, as I said, I think he's had a spin or something somewhere because he was in front of JJ, and then in the last sector he dropped off behind JJ and was in 3rd. So if he has actually spun, and those especially with the way A, our Factor 2 works, and B, how it is here, those tyres might not be too happy, especially with overheating and the like. That may explain why he's actually dropping further and further back. And you know what? I think Roy might have a shot at a podium very soon if Mlinek can't pick up the pace.
He might just. I mean, he got that 2nd place at Suzuka, Roy. We know he's capable of podium finishes, but he's got Brett and Brewster to worry about behind him as well. So he needs to catch Mlinek as quick as he can here, must Roy. And he has come on a long way since his first race. He had trouble acclimatising his first race a couple of races back, but he's really put the work and practice in since then and has found himself in these high positions and being able to deal with them. He's definitely shown that he is capable of handling these Formula cars as well. Cameron Brewster, well, has a chance at correct now because he tried to go on Roy and it didn't work.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Terence there once again trying the move, not quite working. That's letting him a little bit exposed to Cameron Brewster again. A bit of a classic sort of race from both the drag boys, really. I mean, Cameron has come back up a little bit, up to 6th, and Cherdwin just pretty much held station pretty much all race long. He hasn't really moved up or down. He's just been going along. So a pretty calm race from both the drag boys. I mean, I've been noticing this round actually been pretty, just kind of keeping themselves out of trouble as much as they can, just getting to the end of each race, which really is probably a good thing in the end. I mean, is to get the results, you've got to first finish them, so which is the key thing. Cabrera, by the way, still in 9th, so he's still in the top 10, but he does have Stefan Rawalt coming at him at a pretty rapid pace. Also shout out to Mantis Polvides in 11th. He's managed to hold on at the moment in the points, which would be good to him if he can hold on to that. As, yeah, JJ apparently fastest lap, yeah, once again 56.2 that lap. Kumar 56.7. So 2.4 seconds is now the gap. And it's looking like, as Rualt now apparently, yeah, 56.1 for Rualt. So JJ and Rualt at the moment trading fastest laps as they try and come, or as Rualt tries to come back to the field. And there's a reason why he had that lap. This is what Mlinek will want. Mlinek will want these two to fight like there's absolutely no tomorrow, so he can just gallop away as Roy going a little bit deep there, but that actually works then. That cuts off Terence from going for that switchback on Cosmo Drive. But look at that, he's got a really compromised exit. And this is Gid Grinch, another chance into the left-hander once again. Terence has another look. This is, I think, attempt number 3 or 4 at doing this move. Is he going to try and hold it this time? I don't think he will, or will he? No, he can't quite do it. And again, Roy defends. And once again, look at that Cameron Brewster. Oh, gets maybe another chance. There's a bit of lag on Terence's end. I thought he'd spun. There was a bit of lag, I think, on his end. But either way, Cameron looking... Yeah, Terence. Oh, yeah, Terence is... Ooh, that's not good. Terence has got over 1,000 ping. Oh, he's gone.
Dear.
Oh, no.
Oh, we're going to must score.
No.
Linett, Greg, Patala, Cabrera, Lindbergh. This will be a red flag.
Yeah, this will be a red flag for sure. Yeah, there you go.
So it won't benefit Bajile because he will probably drop one position because we're taking from the previous red flag, Chris Williamson.
Yeah, red flag. Yep. Yeah, no wonder. Look, that's that's almost half the field disconnected there. And I think that was all kicked off by the lag coming in there from Terence. I think his disconnection there pretty much kicked everyone else off. So there you go. A lot of unfortunately, a bit of an anticlimactic finish to that one. But it is full points as Menno just mentioned. It is full points. It should be because he's, I believe, over halfway. So full points should be awarded despite the red flag. So what that's going to mean is that Nirjan Kumar is a race winner here at GPVWC in the Formula Challenge.
Well, it should do. I want a way to take it. I don't think Roy realises as well. Roy may have just gone through on his own behalf. I think people are going to go back to pit. He may just take the chance to get the race lead briefly. But if Kumar's won it, then it's an absolutely well-deserved. Well, some might argue it isn't, but results are results. Yeah,
so there you go. Yeah, and Chris there just RD in the chat. They're just saying that will be a result. So there you go. So. Yeah, there you go. There'll be some. I think there'll be some interesting responses. There'll probably be some. The most unusual circumstances. That's really. That is a very, very strange way to get the win. Not necessarily probably the way you'd necessarily want to, per se. But it's a win's a win. You can't. Yeah, so Kumar, it's their first podium for SD, first win as well, so they take the double there, so that's good for them. Also, Linek as well getting in the 3rd spot there. Again, I think this is also good for Linek, because I think, as I said, I don't know what was going on with him, but I think after whatever incident he had, he may have overheated the tyres. I know once you overheat the tyres in R Factor 2, it is just you literally have no grip whatsoever, so I think that's why he was struggling there to stay ahead of that battle for 4th spot. So I think if the race had gone on to the end, I don't think he would have held on to 3rd. So I think Linek's going to be probably might be secretly a little bit happy with that. That ended where it did because that's allowed him to get 3rd. That's the Hinss Motorsport first podium in Formula Challenge as well, which is good to see. I think Mantis was about 10th or 11th when the disconnection started happening. So double points, which is good to see. Drake also double points. They'll be happy with that. Nice solid drives from them. But that's a little bit of a sort of anticlimactic way to end it, Josh. But up until then, it had been a pretty entertaining race, had to be said.
Yeah, I mean, up until that point where we're thinking who's going to win this now, and if we're taking it from the lap prior, then it should be Kumar who wins, and then obviously Roy's going to maybe miss out just a little bit, but there'll be some people who are not quite as happy about that, and I think actually we might be restarting because we've just actually loads of people have left, so I said it was a result, so. Yeah, people are leaving, and
it's a bit of an anticlimactic way to sort of end the round, and it will be a bit of a shorter broadcast because of that. But such is the way of things. Unfortunately, we have that happen. We obviously will have interviews for those interested or those the top runners, so the podiums from both races. I can see JJ's already jumped straight in the waiting room there. He's keen for that interview. We'll see if anyone else possibly wants to jump up. But while we wait, we may as well get JJ in here for the interview. There we go. All right. So in the room we have Mr. James Johnson. So a bit of an interesting way to end. That wasn't JJ, just the old mass disconnect for race 2. But either way, I'm sure you'll be happy with that because that's 2 pretty solid results for your championship campaign.
Yeah, can't complain with that. I was just had to amp up the pressure on Naranjan there, and kind of had it taken away. I wasn't going to enjoy that. But yeah, no, that helps me a lot in the championship. Obviously, with Rio having problems at the start and pretty good start. But yeah, not quite the way I wanted it to end. I wanted that win, but I'll take it.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah, for sure. And yeah, so that first race was a bit of a slow burner, I think, that one, but it was still quite interesting because you had obviously were having to come back through the field, pass from sixth spot up to the top end of the field. But we had a nice showdown at the end there. I mean, you and Rot were very, very close. But I said on the broadcast, I think, yeah, I noticed you had a little bit of a wiggly moment out of that out of the chicane down the second back straight. I think when I mentioned the broadcast, I think if you hadn't had that moment and you had a cleaner exit, you may have had a chance into the left-hander. But as we know, it's racing not to be.
Just didn't get the drive off and then stuck in the dirty air in the slower part. So can't really overtake. I made a mistake a bit earlier on. It dropped me a bit back, but if I didn't have the penalty, I think I might have done okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I had pretty good pace the whole race. So.
Yeah, I mean the start, obviously the penalty at the start didn't help you, but in race one, but you still came back a second, which is good. And obviously you've got a really good got a really big bit of a bonus here with the red flag, and then having Stefan be so far behind. This is really going to help your championship credentials going into the last few rounds of the championship. Obviously, it's not quite the way you would have wanted to get the points, but that you're going to get. But obviously, it's going to give you confidence knowing that you got this little bit extra buffer going into the last few.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely looking at points now, seeing what I need to do to try and stay ahead. Obviously, no mistakes. Try not to get caught up in anyone else's mess, and just try and bring it home and hopefully get a few wins. Yeah, if I can get a few wins, then I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no, if you can keep the sort of pace you were showing for this round, I think you'd be pretty on target if that's those results they're looking for. But either way, great stuff, JJ. Good results for you in both races, and congrats on the results. So yeah, thanks for coming in. So also in the room, we have Mr. Cameron Brewster, the Bowser himself. Got to say, great result, first race. Obviously, we're leading early on, but just didn't quite have the pace of JJ and Rod. But either way, it's still another podium for you. That's a great result for Drake.
Yeah, I can't believe the result I got in qualifying, first of all. And yeah, a bit gutted that I didn't kind of beat JJ on raw pace and it had to come down to a grid penalty. But race one, I felt comfortable with the car, but when I made a small mistake, which let Rualt catch up, I thought it's not even worth me running the risk of colliding with him, trying to preserve this. I've already got the win that I was searching for, so kind of let him through, so to speak. And then when JJ came up to me, we had a bit of contact in a braking zone after one of the straights, so I just thought, again, with him, it's not worth me throwing away points for Drake. So yeah, me and Chuggy finishing 3-4, and that was a great result, but severely disappointed with what happened in race 2.
Yeah, no, just the unfortunate, the just mass disconnections that unfortunately can be a catalyst of sim racing. Unfortunately, one of the downsides of having these machines. But either way, as I said, great result in race 1, some good points for Drake in race 2. So. Looking towards the next round of the championship, is that one you're looking forward to? You think both yourself and Churgwin can be up towards the front once again?
I'll be honest, I've been paying so little attention to the calendar and focusing on this race, I don't even know what track's next.
I was kind of hoping you would know, so I wouldn't have to look all good there, but
That's fine, I'm on it.
It's Coda, don't worry. Yeah. So, good old Coda in the sides.
Kind of looking forward to that. It's another one of those tracks with fast flowing sections, which I think may suit us, but only time will tell. I just hope that if we are strong, we get the full race distance in both races to get as many points as we can, because I feel that had it have made the full race distance in race 2, me and Joggy could have possibly been challenging for more podiums.
Yeah, I mean, there can never be really a winner in the case of a red flag, and obviously some people will lose out. Well, there can be winners, but, not everyone wins, so to speak, because they didn't, get to the direct end of it, so to speak. And But yeah, nonetheless, a good race one result for you. Nonetheless, you got your podium. And as I mentioned, I alluded to after your Suzuka win, which was still fantastic, by the way. I alluded to after that, it might open the floodgates a bit. Has it given you that much more confidence?
I don't think it's so much a confidence thing. I mean, obviously, it's proven that I can do it when the time is right. But I think it's just more that the car is just feeling good for both me and Chuggy, and we do feel that we're now comfortable that we can push and try and do our best. But I mean, up until tonight, we weren't really sure where we were.
Indeed,
I mean,
yeah. No.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
No,
Josh.
no, I wasn't going to say anything of any interest.
It's all good. But still, as I said, good results for the podium in that first race, third, fourth, and again, good points for race 2. So that's always what we're after. But yeah, thanks for coming in, and again, look forward to seeing you guys at the next round, seeing what you guys can deliver for Drake.
No problem. Cheers, guys.
All right, thank you. So I'll just drag them in real quick.
User was moved to your
All right,
channel.
so
User
in the room now we have Mr. Menno Klont,
Your channel was
who
edited.
has race 2 with the, no matter what how it may have been, with the way the rules are, how much the race was done, it will be forward points rewarded, and it is a result. So whatever the way it is, that's how it is. So Malinek has managed to get Hinss Motorsport first podium in Formula Challenge. So great results there. But yourself, you had great race one as well, very consistent, good points. But how was each of those races for you? Because I know both races, the first lap was a little bit manic further back.
Before the first race, I have an issue with my steering wheel. I needed to reset my PC about 3 or 4 times to fix it. The race 1 went pretty good, I think. Maybe P4 was possible, but P5 is also good. And also before race 2, my settings to steering wheel break down again, and I was supposed to drive on a Logitech driving force settings, which was not the best. And I lost my force feedback in race 2. But I was lucky enough to avoid 2 collisions in front of me. I was in second place, and then the game start lagging. That's why I was out of the track once in front of James. And the game freezes a few times later until the server crash. P3, I think it is very good result for me, the first podium also. And I think I can fight for more in the future races.
Yeah, indeed. No, I was we were mentioning throughout the broadcast earlier on. They've shown in recent results with this series that you just got that consistency to avoid the carnage, and then just keep pumping out solid laps and just be in those positions to get those kind of results. So it's certainly something that I think is possible. But that second race was, as we said, was a bit manic. But so for the rest of the season, I guess for you guys for the last 3 rounds. So it's obviously COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Then we're looking at the Mexican Grand Prix there. For the second last round there, it's obviously Brazilian Grand Prix at good old Interlagos to finish off. So looking forward to the last 3 rounds. Was there any particular round that sort of you're dreading or perhaps looking forward to more than the others?
From this last 3 circuits, I only don't like a bit Austin. On other 2 tracks, I think I can fight for top 5 or maybe more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't usually have you in the broadcast booth, Machik. So great to have you with, and well done on the podium. I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. What is it like to work with Thomas Hinss, with him being a team manager? What's it like to drive for Hinss Motorsport?
The best feeling ever. He's a very good manager.
Oh. Thank you, Mike. And thanks for that one, Josh. Nice little plug. Yes, thank you for coming in, Machek, and again, great stuff with the results from both races, and look forward to seeing yourself and Mantis, what you guys can bring to the table for the final 3 rounds. But again, thanks for coming in for the interview.
Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah, no worries. See
User
you.
left
All
your
right.
channel.
So, finally, we'll round it on. Damn you, Josh. We'll round it off with non-podium finisher, but still just get a quick one with Jared Vanderwide. So, hello, Jared. Another fellow Australian. We could see other fellow Australians in the booth. It's always good. But yeah, as we were saying, we saw from both those races a bit of a manic stuff, certainly in the start of that first race. And yeah, I've noticed that we saw on the broadcast they had a little bit of incident in the first race, but we managed to get a point result, which is good. And obviously, second race a little bit chaotic. But yeah, how's those two races from your perspective?
Well, yeah, you basically summed it up. Really, it was a bit of a crazy race. Well, both races really. Qualifying wasn't as strong as I had hoped, considering my practice times were about a second and a half quicker than my qualifying lap. Race one, yeah, started off okay. Avoided all the carnage at the first corner, and then it was just trying to, keep up with everyone, and yeah, managed to get myself loose and lost the traction in a place that I hadn't actually lost traction before in practice, so that was a bit of a shock. But yeah, went in, got my front wing repaired and pushed on to get the points position at the end. Second race, yeah, well, it was going to be good. I had the pace for top 10, but yeah, obviously the disconnection, and yeah, that was a bit of a shame, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. So yeah, it was a bit crazy.
Yep, and well, you had some decent racing here, obviously, today, Jared, and yeah, driving for Eval, obviously, today, and yeah, obviously, you've been one of those drivers where you've been there or thereabouts all season, and yeah, you might not be the fastest, but you're definitely one of the drivers who, I like to mark out as having potential to be more consistent point scorers in the future. How do you feel you're coming along at R-Factor 2 then? It's a bit of a weird question, I know, but obviously for someone who might be able to score more consistent points in the future, how do you feel? Do you feel that you're getting there?
I honestly think that I am slowly getting there. R-Factor 1 was pretty, easy to set up cars and whatnot. But yeah, R-Factor 2 is a completely different ball game. It's very technical, and I've only just really learnt in Open Series how to drive these FC cars. And now it's starting to pay off, and I've got a nice base set up for every track so far, and yeah, slowly getting there. I think I'll be right next year.
Yeah, indeed. No, hopefully, looking forward to future results to come, and yeah, it should be good to see you. Hopefully for the remaining round of the season, and see what you can bring to the table. But again, thank you for coming, Jared. And yeah, good luck to you for the rest of the season.
Thank you. No worries.
And thank you very much. So yeah, that pretty much rounds us off for this broadcast. Again, as we said, not necessarily the result end we were expecting and probably wanting, but such is the way of things, such is the way the cookie crumbles, so to speak. You just take what is given to us and go from there. But yeah, some pretty good stuff I thought there, Josh. Some good racing. The first race, a little bit of a slow burner, I thought, but I think in its own way, it was quite fascinating. We had that good duel at the end, which was good. But yeah, what's your views on those two races?
Yeah, a great couple of races, and pleasure to commentate on, even though it is going to be my last two for this year, and I think at least for this year. And yeah, it's a shame to for my Tuesday commentary to come to an end, but nonetheless, and it's been fun and a nice little way to relax on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. I baked that. Well, Wednesday morning for me, but yeah, either way, yeah. So it was good fun to see the shenanigans go on in the Formula Challenge realm. Good to be back in the booth, and I haven't been in for a while. So I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. Obviously, Josh rounding off his FC duties for this year, and obviously decided to come back in for a bit of commentary again, first time in a while. So I hope it wasn't too bad. I hope it wasn't too rusty. Fingers crossed. We'll see how the end product goes, I guess, because obviously we'll be on YouTube for all to see. But either way, again, thank you to Menno Klont for coming in on the cameras as well. With Quinton having his last minute issues, was big appreciation to Menno for stepping in for this one. Always appreciate the amazing work that all the cameramen and commentators do for the broadcast for the league. Great stuff. But yeah, either way, that rounds us off for this round of the Formula Challenge season, the 15th round at the Yas Marina circuit. Be sure to be with us in 2 weeks' time. We'll be at the COTA Circuit of the Americas in Austin for the American round of Formula Challenge Series. Round 16 as we head towards that final few rounds of the season and finally see who's going to be crowned the victor for this 2016 edition of the Formula Challenge Series. But either way, on behalf of myself, Menno, and Josh, we wish you all the best, and it's goodbye for now.